Wilcox.
Good morning. Chairman Graham, Ranking Member Feinstein, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today to share my story. My name is Amanda Wilcox, and I'm the Legislative Chair of Brady, California, a network of grassroots chapters dedicated to ending gun violence. I have been a volunteer gun violence prevention advocate for the past 18 years. In January 2001, my daughter Laura was home on winter break from college and filling in as a receptionist at our county behavioral health clinic when a client came in and opened fire. He shot Laura 4 times at point-blank range, killing her instantly. When his rampage at the clinic and a nearby restaurant ended, 3 people lay dead, 3 were severely injured, a community was left shaken, and the world was diminished by the loss of an incredible young woman. Laura, bright and beautiful at age 19, had extraordinary capability, kindness, and spirit. She was an outstanding student, graduating as high school valedictorian, and was at the time of her death a sophomore at Haverford College and in the midst of her campaign for the student body presidency. Laura was already living a life full of service. She wanted to make a positive difference in the world. She had unlimited possibilities and the brightest of futures. After Laura's sudden death, my life and that of my husband Nick was turned upside down. We were in a state of extreme shock, emotional pain, and deep grief. Later, as we struggled to comprehend the circumstances of our daughter's death, we learned that the shooter's family, girlfriend, and caseworker were all worried about him. His father and grandfather had died by suicide with a firearm. They knew he had guns. The warning signs were there. But because he had never committed a crime or been subject to an involuntary mental health hold, which carries a temporary firearm prohibition under California law, there was no legal tool for removing his firearms. It was clear to us then, and it still is today, that there needs to be a way to remove firearms from a person who is in crisis, clearly dangerous, and at risk of harming themselves or others. It was too late for Laura, but my husband and I wanted to save others by working to keep guns out of dangerous hands. Since Laura's death, there have been many high-profile shootings in Tucson, Aurora, Isla Vista, Parkland, and in so many cases, there were warning signs and people were concerned. And every day, there are shootings that most of us never hear about. But in my small rural county, 4 people I know have died by suicide with a gun. And in my own little town, an elderly man with dementia shot and killed his caregiver. In so many shootings, whether suicide, domestic violence, mass or school shooting, a loved one or member of law enforcement typically sees the signs before the tragedy occurs. The Extreme Risk Protective Order law allows family members and law enforcement to petition the court for a temporary firearm prohibition when a person is at risk of injury to self or others by having a firearm. The law enables those who know the person in crisis the best, family members, or law enforcement, to intervene and save lives. My central role in the enactment and ongoing implementation of California's extreme risk law has been very meaningful to me. As had the law been in place in 2001, Laura might be alive today. Based on our experience in California, I know that extreme risk laws need to be accompanied by a thoughtful and robust implementation program that incorporates all major stakeholders, including law enforcement officers, court clerks and judges, as well as social service providers, medical professionals, and others who may be working with a potential family petitioner. A process for implementing the law in each jurisdiction needs to be developed. This takes resources. As a mother whose daughter needlessly lost her life, I ask you to support incentives and funding for states to enact and implement extreme risk laws. We can save lives every day by making extreme risk orders available throughout the country. I look forward to working with all of you on this committee to find a path forward. In 2001, Laura was killed in an instant by 4 bullets. In the aftermath, I was overwhelmed by the permanence of her death. Laura was gone forever. That is why extreme risk laws resonate with me. One can always give a gun back. I cannot get her life back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wilcox. Sheriff Bradshaw.